Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my series on the CBAP style exam active questions. This video is going to be on questions 21 to 30. I hope you've liked questions 1 to 20, and I hope you practice them. And in the chat, I would really like to see what you scored and some of the questions you have challenges with. All the questions we are reviewing are all aligned to the BABOK guide. My name is Harry Madusha, and this series is going to be focused on helping business analysts develop the judgment and the mindset to pass the CBAP exam. And it's not just about passing the CBAP exam, it's also about ensuring that for those that are not even doing the exam, it gives you an idea of how best practices on how to do your business analysis work. The best way to use this video is to pause before each answer, select your option, and then compare your reasoning with the BABOK-based explanation. If this series is helping you on your CBAP and ECBA preparation, please like the video and subscribe. This helps the YouTube to recommend this content to more analysts preparing for the exam. All right, let's continue on the questions. Question 21. A business analyst is engaged in a complex initiative to select an optimal third-party sales application for an organization with diverse regional operations. Let me get my pen. So it's a complex initiative. The business analyst must navigate so optimal third-party sales. So the third-party application, okay. The business analyst must navigate varying stakeholder needs, budget constraints, and integration challenges with existing systems to identify potential solutions that align with strategic goals. So the BA is supposed to navigate stakeholder needs and integration challenges with existing systems. Okay, so the organization has its own existing systems. They are looking for a potential solution um, and yeah, so let's go on with the questions. Which technique should the BA employ to systematically employ and pinpoint appropriate third-party solutions? So he's talking about third-party solutions, meaning we are trying to get third-party options or third-party solutions. Okay. Option A, strategic performance evaluation. So we are looking for the technique that will help us explore and pinpoint the appropriate third-party options. Now, usually third-party options are from vendors. So I'm expecting it will have to do something to do with the vendor. Number one, strategic performance evaluation. Not necessarily, but let's just hold on to that. Vendor evaluation. Yes, I like this. I like this because we are talking about third party options. We are talking about third party sales application. So this is a very good one. B, let's look at C, process efficiency analysis. No. Process efficiency is usually related to business processes and optimizing business processes. So this is about solutions, not really about business processes. Decision making framework. No, it can be that. So it's between strategic performance evaluation and it can be strategic performance evaluation because this is strategic performance. We are talking about third party solutions, third party applications. So a technique that we could employ to explore the third party solutions is your vendor evaluation. And this can also be called your vendor assessment. Your vendor assessment. And what is vendor assessment? Vendor assessment is tailored for identifying and evaluating third-party solutions, making it ideal for exploring sales applications in a complex scenario. So the right answer is the vendor assessment or vendor evaluation. Let's check what the answer is. Awesome. The answer is B. I hope you got that. And if you didn't, this is an opportunity to learn. Okay, so let's move forward to the next question. Question 22. A business analyst is crafting a governance framework. Oh, nice. A business analyst is crafting a governance framework for managing change requests in a mid-sized project involving a few key departments with overlapping decision-making roles. Okay. To establish an effective decision-making process, the business analyst needs to deeply understand the decision-making authorities. So the BA needs to know the decision-making authorities, and that is related to governance, their interactions, and the rationale behind their authority, which requires qualitative insights from a select group of senior stakeholders. Which method should the BA use to gather this nuanced information effectively? So the BA is crafting a governance framework to manage requests, and we have to establish an effective decision-making process. The BA needs to deeply understand yeah, he needs to understand decision-making authorities, their interactions, and the rationale behind their authority. And you should know that all these are all related to business analysis governance. So which method should the BA use to gather this nuanced information? A, financial viability analysis. No, not the this looks like a cost benefit analysis. Industry benchmarking study. No, remember we're talking about understanding decision making authorities better, so it can be industry benchmarking study. That's just way out. Focus group. Yeah, yes, I like focus groups. The reason is because focus group, it's a technique that helps us to facilitate in-depth discussions with a select group of stakeholders or senior stakeholders, and it allows the BA to explore decision-making roles, interactions, rationales. It's also ideal for mid-sized projects. So I would go with focus group as a technique for understanding decision-making authorities, their interactions, survey distribution. No, it can't be survey distribution. So I'm leaning towards the focus group, and that's because with the focus group, I can bring the initial decision-making authority that I know into a meeting, and then I can better understand what their authority levels are, how do we interact with the project, what's the rationale behind the authority, and insights that I can gain from them. So remember, as a business analyst, even while practicing your business analysis governance is very key, and that focuses on your decision making authority. So I will go with C. So let's see what the answer is. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's move to question 22. Question 22. A company is embarking on a strategic initiative to expand the distribution of an existing product into a new channel. As part of the business analysis process, okay, expand distribution of, okay, so they are expanding their product into a new market. As part of the business analysis process, the business analyst is tasked with conducting a detailed stakeholder analysis. So the BA is conducting a detailed stakeholder analysis to better understand the roles, influence, and impact of various stakeholders involved in the project. To visualize this, the BA is creating a stakeholder map which will help prioritize engagement strategies and ensure effective collaboration throughout the initiative. Okay, so what's the question? Based on the stakeholder map, how should the BA categorize the IT department in terms of influence and impact? Yeah, so this is looking at the stakeholder influence and interest grid. And we have an existing product that is moving into a new channel. So if it has to do with a product, IT is going to have high influence because it has to do with a solution, and IT is also going to have high impact. But let's look at the options. A, high influence and high impact. Yeah, because it has to do with a solution. that, or a product that that we're working on the distribution of that product, IT is critical to developing, integrating, that particular solution. So IT will be high influence and also high impact. High influence, low impact, no. The impact of IT is high because they will be developing the solution, or at least they will be integrating the solution. So this cannot be true. Low influence, high impact, that cannot be true. Low influence, low impact, that cannot be true either. So the IT department is typically has high level of influence on the success of a product launch, as they are responsible for ensuring the technical infrastructure supports the new distribution channel, integrating systems and managing data flows. And IT will significantly be impacted by the launch, as they will need to implement and maintain the technical solutions required for the new channel. So the right answer is A. So let's see what the answer is. Awesome. The answer is A. I hope you did get that. Please put down in the comments if you have any questions and what answers you chose. Let's move to question 24. A business analyst has executed a series of elicitation activities, leveraging techniques such as shadowing, group discussions, one-on-one dialogues with domain experts and system users across multiple departments. Upon reviewing the findings, the BA identifies conflicting inputs, okay, that could jeopardize the accuracy of requirements, especially given the project's tight timeline and diverse stakeholder expectations. What strategy should the BA employ to effectively harmonize these conflicting inputs while ensuring stakeholder alignment? So the BA is getting conflicting inputs that could affect the accuracy of requirements. And these are coming from the one-on-one dialogues with different domain experts and system users. So when you're getting requirements from different users, sometimes, those things are not really aligned, especially when they are coming from multiple departments. So the question is, how do we effectively harmonize these conflicting requirements or conflicting inputs? A. Select a small group of influential stakeholders to arbitrate the conflict. No, it can't be this. Remember, we are working with different departments and their requirements can be valid. So we shouldn't, I don't think we should look for a small group. Everybody needs to come together and, have a discussion on this. Discard requirements that contribute to conflicting inputs. No, you don't just want to throw away stakeholder requirements for whatever reason. It should be a group decision. It should be all the stakeholders that come together to agree on that based on certain criteria. Emphasize data from shadowing as the most dependable source. Emphasize data from shadowing, not really. So you do a shadowing or you do a passive or active observation, and because of that, you say that that is a dependable source. Not necessarily. Not only requirements that come from shadowing or observations that are dependable. So I would say no to this. Organize collaborative sessions to address discrepancies. Exactly. Bring everyone together into a meeting, maybe into a JAD session, and bring the developers, stakeholders from all the departments, and walk through the requirements and find the requirements are not that are not aligned or they are conflicting. And because you have everybody there, it's easier to make a decision from there. So I will go with D, and I hope you all understand why that is very important. And this is related to confirming elicitation results. It's a task in the business analysis book of knowledge. And confirming elicitation results emphasizes resolving inconsistencies through stakeholder engagement and organizing collaborative sessions that enables the BA to address discrepancies with all relevant parties, most especially in complex projects with diverse inputs. So I'll go with D. Awesome. I hope you got D too. If you didn't, that's why we are doing this. So let's move along to question 25. A business analyst is facilitating a multi-domain requirement elicitation session. So multi-domain, different domains, involving stakeholders from different departments, for various departments, including operations, compliance, IT, finance. So they are just different departments. Some participants are unfamiliar with the initiative strategic goals, while others have differing expectations regarding the system's capabilities. To ensure the discussion remains structured and aligned with the project's objectives, the BA must consider stakeholder engagements and intended deliverables. This question is a mouthful. What critical aspect must the BA effectively communicate to ensure a focused and outcome driven elicitation session? Questions like this, one thing I would like to advise you is that usually, not every time, usually when they are very worded this way, the initial parts of the questions are not what you should focus on. The meat of the question is usually later. It's usually down the question. So, what are we looking for here? We are looking for what critical aspect must the BA effectively communicate? So, what should the BA be communicating to ensure a focused and outcome-driven elicitation session? So, remember, we have multiple domains, we have multiple teams, and each of them are thinking in different ways. So, let's see what the options are. A, strategic transformation roadmap for business change. No, we are. That's not what we're looking at. We are still at the phase where we are still looking at requirements. So this can be relevant long term, but I don't think this does not fit or does not answer the question. Define boundaries and objectives of the elicitation process. Yeah, define boundaries. Yeah, remember, we have multiple stakeholders, multiple domains. So it would be good to know the boundaries for each of these stakeholders. So I would let's just put this here for now. Let's look at the other options and see if there's something better. Organizational hierarchy and enterprise architecture framework. While this is important, I really don't think it helps us align business processes, technology, and organizational structure, but it does not guide us with our elicitation session. Remember, we are focused on the elicitation session. So I don't think that will not guide us there. Criteria for evaluating and prioritizing business needs. This is an important step after the requirement has been elicited. That's where priority comes. So it's not the right answer. It doesn't answer the question. So the right answer is define boundaries and objectives of the elicitation process. So for us to effectively communicate, one thing we need, especially for elicitation session, is that we need our elicitation process objectives. What is the objective of that elicitation process? Could it be an interview, a focus group, or whatever elicitation technique you are using? And you also need to define those boundaries. In a complex and multi-stakeholder environment, the elicitation boundaries establish the parameters and goals of a requirement session. This is critical, ensuring alignment across domains and preventing unstructured discussion. And in the BABOK, this is aligned to the conduct elicitation task. I think it's in section 3.2, if I'm not mistaken. And it just helps you define what is needed, which business areas are impacted, and how stakeholder input to be integrated. Awesome. So let's check if that answer is correct. Awesome. We got that. Well done. Well done. We still have five more questions. Don't be discouraged. Let's keep going. A business analyst is documenting requirements for an initiative involving a diverse group of stakeholders. Documenting requirements, yeah. Each possessing different degrees of familiarity with the product domain. How should the BA ensure that the documented requirements are effectively understood and aligned with the viewpoints of the stakeholders? Okay, yeah. So option A, level of detail level of requirements, detail level of requirement. And let's just put a dot for this for now. Come back. Stakeholder knowledge assessment. Stakeholder knowledge assessment. Assessing the stakeholder knowledge is good, but it's just a preparatory step to understanding um, that stakeholder and their needs. So it doesn't directly address this question. So I'll put a note to that. Option C, presentation style of the requirement. Yes, yes. So remember, the question is, how do we make our stakeholders understand the requirements? So I would go with C. For now, I'll go with C. Let's check D first. Choice of visual models. A choice of visual models is also good, but remember, for the BABOK exam, you are picking the best answer. Some answers might be correct, but might not just be the best answer. So selecting specific visual models is a subset of the presentation style. So I will go with this and I will say no to this and no to detailed level of detail. Okay, so this option on presentation style aligns with the specify and model requirement task in the business analysis book of knowledge, and it involves how to tailor your requirements. Is it textual? Is it visual? And how do you frame your requirement in a way that suits your stakeholders? Remember, we have diverse group of stakeholders here. So how do we tailor that? That is done using the under the specify and model requirements. And because you can't present a requirement the same way to the business and the same way to the technical folks, it's not just going to work. Or the same way to marketing and the same way to, let's say, finance. So you need to be very cognizant of how to tailor the presentation of a requirement. So let's see if that answer is right. Correct. So the answer is right. Let's move to question 27. Let's keep going. A business analyst is managing a complex series of stakeholder engagements to finalize solution architecture for a global foreign exchange platform at a multinational financial institution involving diverse teams with with diverse teams across different regions with competing priorities. So we have competing requirements, we have diverse teams. Despite the BA's exceptional facilitation abilities and trust earned from all parties, alignment on the solution architecture remains elusive. Okay, even though the stakeholders had previously validated the business justification. What underlying issue is most likely contributing to this persistent lack of alignment in the project with such intricate cross-functional dependencies? This is another mouthful questions, and you get some of that in the CBAP exam. Let's look at the option. A, governance structure for solution approval is ambiguous. So we are looking for the root cause of why we are having this misalignment. Governance structure for the solution approval is ambiguous. No, the question does not say anything about governance structure, so we say no to that. Insufficient design alternatives have been presented for consideration. No, the question did not say that. This might be important, but the question did not say that. I don't think we should go. I'm not going to go with that. Requirements. Requirements are aligned and not adequately matched to the solution architecture. The question also does not say that. So I'm not going to make an assumption that the question did not say. So let's see. We're only left with one question, one answer, one option now. Stakeholders have varying interpretation of the requirements. Exactly. I will go with this. Why? I will go with this because if you look, we have diverse teams in different regions with competing priorities. Hmm? And also, um, even though they all agreed on the system, they all agreed on business justification, there's just no alignment. And that could be because they are interpreting the requirements in different ways. Now, there are other answers to this question, but remember, we are sticking with the answer that best suits this for this question. In your organization, there might be another reason why this happens. So remember, you need to answer strictly based on the BABOK and based on that question. So let's see if these stakeholders have varying interpretations of the requirements. I think that is also done during your verify requirements, you know, task in the business analysis book of knowledge. Let's check our answer. Awesome. B. Let's go on. So how many questions? We've done 7 questions now. How many did you get right? I'd like to know in the comment section. So let's move to question 28. While formulating the business analysis strategy for a new initiative, the business analyst pinpoints the primary stakeholders. So we know our primary stakeholders for essential early phase activities and arranges virtual meetings to discuss their availability for task completion timelines. The reactions vary. One stakeholder arrives unprepared and disengaged, another dismisses the request as irrelevant, and cites competing priorities, and two others seek clarification, unsure of their expected contributions. Wow, these stakeholders are not just prepared. Anyway, which set of skills should the BA utilize to effectively achieve alignment and commitment from all these stakeholders? So we have stakeholders that are not prepared, they are disengaged, some dismiss the request as irrelevant, some have competing priorities, some are looking for clarification. There's just a lot happening here. So we are looking for the skills that the BA needs. So what skills does the BA need to achieve alignment? A, facilitation skills, conflict management skills, effective dialogue. I will go with A, but ensure you read all the options. But right now, it looks like A is very promising because if you have people with these diverse kind of views, you need good facilitation skills. When they disagree, you need good conflict management skills. You also need to be able to dialogue with the team. So let's go with this for now. B, strategic thinking, innovation, and problem resolution. Strategic thinking, innovation. I don't think this really captures it. So I would say no to this. Organizational knowledge, which is good. Domain expertise. You don't necessarily need the domain expertise. You don't really necessarily need that. You already have SMEs, both your subject matter expert and your um implementation SMEs and domain SMEs. So you don't necessarily need to be a domain expert. Technical proficiency, no, I would say no to this. Personal accountability, time organization, and proving dependability. Yeah, but yeah, this is close. So maybe I'll go with A. And if A was not yet there, maybe I'll go with maybe B or something. But A is the best answer because those are just the skills you need to effectively manage this kind of stakeholders. I hope you got that, and you will see that in the manage stakeholder collaboration task in the business analysis book of knowledge. Let's see if our answer is good. Awesome. So we got A. Answer A is correct. Let's move to question 29. This is a nice question. How are you doing? Let's keep going at it. I'm very confident if you understand these questions, you understand the answers, you understand why each answer is correct, and why the other answers are wrong. It will help you to pass that exam. And I'm believing I'm going to get good testimonies from you on passing that exam based on studying these questions that we're reviewing. A business analyst has conducted extensive sessions with various organizational teams to capture business opportunity for a proposed initiative. Okay, having sessions, gathering a wide range of insights to ensure the business needs are actionable and verifiable as the project progresses. What should the BA prioritize when organizing collected data? Okay, let me take that again. To ensure the business needs are actionable and verifiable. So you need to make sure that the business needs are verifiable. as a project, what should be prioritized when organizing data? So we're organizing data. I want to make sure that we can verify that data. Option A, minimize any associated uncertainties. No, I'm not going to go with that. And I'm not going with that because in our question, we are talking about how to organize data in a way that they are verifiable. So minimizing uncertainties really doesn't answer that question. Link back to original stakeholders. Yes, so link the data, link the requirements back to the stakeholders that gave you those requirements, and this will help us verify those requirements or the data, because if we do that, then we can work with those stakeholders. We can work with those stakeholders to help us better understand the needs. So I'll go with this for now. Align with potential solution designs. No, this is way early. We're just gathering insight. So we won't be talking about potential solution designs now. It's just too early in the project. Represent enterprise strategic goals. I would not go with this because while representing strategic goals is important, it is not the primary focus of making it actionable and verifying them in the organization. So I will say no to this. I will go with option one. I will go with option B, and that's because linking business needs to their originating stakeholders ensures traceability, ensures we can trace data requirements to decision makers, and it makes this data actionable and verifiable as the project progresses. And it aligns with the trace requirement task of the business analysis book of knowledge. So let's see if our answer is correct. Option B, awesome. So we got that. Let's move to the last question, the 10th question. We are the end of this video. So let's go through this. Just try and keep your focus. We are getting there. In a multifaceted requirements gathering initiative for a global enterprise system, the business analyst must systematically organize and prioritize a diverse set of elements into hierarchical structure. Okay, so we are organizing and prioritizing and map. So we are organizing and prioritizing to a hierarchical structure and map the relationships between data origin and their dependencies. Okay, so all while tailoring the output for distinct stakeholder groups with varying technical expertise. Which modeling format should the BA employ to effectively address these integrate objectives while ensuring clarity and traceability? Okay, so we are looking for a modeling format. So it has to be a modeling technique, something that will help us to address the integrate objectives while ensuring clarity and traceability. Okay, so number one, number A is visual prototypes. No, prototypes are for products, are for systems, demonstrating systems. That's not what we're doing. Right now, we are trying to see the relationships between data origin and their dependencies. So it cannot be that. Matrices. I like matrices. Why? Because matrix, help us to organize and prioritize elements in a hierarchical structure, and also helps us to map data relationships and ensure traceability. I'm sure you've seen matrices. We use them for test cases. We use them for source to target maps. So let's look at other options. Process flow diagrams. No, I will not go with process flow diagrams, and the reason is because they talk about business processes. Here we are talking about data origins and we are talking about their dependencies. So I will not go with process flows. Then the last one is conceptual sketches. No, this is not even in the BABOK. So it's not, you say, no, it's not in the BABOK. So I don't want to give too much credence to that. So the right answer is matrices. So matrices, like I said, helps us to organize and prioritize elements into an hierarchical structure and helps us to map data relationships from their origin to their dependencies. And some examples are using matrix like Excel for your test cases, your test plan, and also like your STM. It's called the STM, source to target map. So let's see what the answer is. Awesome. The answer is B. The answer is B. So we got that right. That's awesome. Well done. We've done 10 questions now, question 21 to 30, and that wraps up CBAP questions for 21 to 30. And if some of these questions challenged you, that's a good sign. It's not a time to get discouraged. It's a good sign. CBAP, it's designed to test your judgment and reasoning, not your speed or memorization. I want you to take a moment to review why the incorrect options were wrong, because that's where most exam mistakes are made. And if this video is supporting your CBAP and ECBA preparation, please like the video and subscribe. It will help this series reach more analysts who are preparing for their exams or maybe just want to be better business analysts. I'll see you in the next question series where we'll be looking at question 31 to 40. Thank you.